So, in recent years, a lot of people have been learning n8n. Within it, you can set up workflows as well as air agents. Now, I've noticed that many people tend to mix up these two things. So in this video, I'm going to quickly help everyone clarify these concepts. First, what you're seeing on the screen right now is a workflow. This process was explained in a previous video, but let me quickly and simply explain it again. Every day at 9 a.m., I receive 5 pieces of AI-related news in my Gmail. So the first step is I schedule it to start at 9 o'clock, and then it will go to the TechCrunch website and fetch news using RSS. The key point of this workflow is right here. Since there are too many AI news articles, but I only want to know about certain companies like OpenAI, Google, Meta, Anthropic, and so on. So here, you'll see that it uses code to detect whether the article title contains any of these company names, and then it filters them accordingly. After filtering, it is converted into the Gmail format. This format is called HTML. Here you can see both the title and the link. Then I use AI, specifically Gemini, to translate these news articles into Chinese. Finally, they are sent to me via email. This is the traditional workflow. Next, let's talk about AI agents. Generally speaking, you don't need an AI agent for this. You don't need to preset so many steps for it. You just provide the tools it needs and it decides when to use them, just like giving instructions to a colleague. So here, I add an AI agent. This AI agent needs a brain to do its job. So here, I also use Gemini, which has memory. If it wants to achieve the same effect as the workflow above, it needs tools. Here, I add the first tool, which is called RSS. So through this RSS tool, it can go to the website and fetch the news. So RSS here is equivalent to this step in the workflow above. Next, it needs to send me an email, so I also need to add Gmail as a tool. Here you can see that both the workflow above and the agent below can achieve the same result. And what's the most crucial part? It's the AI agent. You need to teach it how to do things through prompts. For example, in the workflow above, I mentioned that I need to filter some news, right? So I need to open this AI agent in here. I need to set up a prompt and tell it exactly what you want it to do. For example, you use the RSS tool to get news information, and then you filter out the following official news, including OpenAI, Google, XAI, and so on. Then translate them into English, and finally use Gmail to send me summaries of 5 AI news articles. So you can see here that in the world of AI agents, you achieve the same workflow effect by typing, in other words, by using prompts. Now, as for the definition of an agent, it means that it will try to solve things on its own. For example, sometimes when it encounters an error, it will figure out a way to resolve it by itself. So, when you double click on this agent in the settings, you can set how many times it should try on its own. This is the biggest feature of an AI agent. That's why I'm highlighting this, so you can better understand the principle. The workflow is very simple. It goes step by step from left to right in a straight line. And if any step encounters an error, it will stop right there. It won't move further. Now, let's discuss the AI agent. The agent, by contrast, operates in a loop. After receiving instructions, it uses its brain to consider what the user wants. Then, based on the system prompt, it enters RLSS to gather information. After getting the information, it returns to its brain to think, then moves to the next step, translation. After the translation is done, what happens next? The news is then sent to the user via Gmail. If it encounters an error, during the process, it will try to go back and resend the email to the user. As you can see, there are many back and forth steps in the middle, and the AI itself decides which tools to use for which tasks. This is what we call an AI agent. Now, at this point, you might have a question. You might look at this and think, AI agents seem simpler. Should we just use AI agents for everything? Well, AIAG, to use it well, it depends on 2 conditions. The first is that your prompt engineering skills need to be very good. The instructions you give must be extremely clear, and you also need to think about how to teach it to solve problems if it encounters any. The second condition is that the model behind the AI agent needs to be smart enough and capable of using tools. Now, you should note that not all models out there are suitable for use as AI agents. For example, DeepSeek can answer your questions, but when it comes to using tools, it actually performs quite poorly. Now, the models released by OpenAI, especially GPT-5, are specifically trained to use tools. So, those who have attended classes or practiced in the workplace will have noticed this. Generally speaking, using OpenAI's models is much more stable. Now, at this point, I believe you more or less understand the difference between a workflow and an AI agent. Next, I want to share one more thing, which is called an agentic workflow. Essentially, it's a workflow, but it's a workflow that it adds an additional AI agent step into the workflow process. In this example, the first 3 steps remain the same. At 9 o'clock, it fetches the latest news from this news website. Originally, in the workflow, it would use code to filter the news articles and then have a separate step to translate the news into Chinese. But now I've combined these 2 steps together, so they're both handled by a single AI agent below. Now, when I open the system prompt for this AI agent, So why is it able to handle these 2 important tasks? In the system, I tell it the following. First, you'll receive news information coming in via RSS feeds. Then, you need to carefully filter out news related to the following companies, and after that, translate it into Chinese. Then, output it as an HTML value, which will be used in the next step for sending Gmail messages. Here, I've combined the steps that required both coding and translation into a single step called the AI agent. Now, in this workflow, there's a step in the middle that includes the AI agent, which we also call the AI agentic workflow. This kind of design combines the advantages of a pure workflow and a pure AI agent. What are the benefits of a workflow? It's stable. By adding an AI agent into the workflow, we simplify those complex steps like coding. And relatively speaking, this AI agent only focuses on doing 2 things: filtering news and translating. Are there any intangible requirements for this? Yes. So, over the past year, the workflows I've been working on have gradually shifted from being purely workflow-based to becoming AI agentic workflows. Sometimes there are steps that can only be solved by writing code. But I'm not a programmer myself. I just ask ChatGPT to write it. However, sometimes, even after several attempts, there are still problems and I have to debug, which I find very time-consuming. At this point, I realized that directly using an AI agent and simply telling it what you need by typing is actually easier than solving it with code. The only drawback is that when the AI agent handles this step, it's a bit slower. Just a few seconds more, really. Also, you need to use tokens, but if I use AI Studio, these tokens are actually free to use. Through this video, you've learned the difference between workflow and AI agents, and that there's actually something in between called an AI agentic workflow. In fact, all roads lead to Rome. As long as you solve the problem, it doesn't matter which method you use. On October 25th and November 1st, there will be 2 workshops held on consecutive Saturdays. If you sign up for both workshops together, you'll get a 10% discount. If you want to get the discount, feel free to message us on Facebook. If you want to know more about the course content, just click the link below the video. See you in the next video.